Hello and welcome to Five Questions with Dr. Fein. I'm Mark Fein, and I am joined as always by my father, Dr. Louis Fein. How are we doing today, Dad?
I'm doing great. I'm really relishing the conversation that we are about to have.
Well, this is Five Questions with Dr. Fein. We try to, it'll probably go 15, 20 minutes maybe total. But the conversation we've had, so you know, has gone on for weeks. We've been having this conversation going back and forth on it. So we've got a great topic for you. Looking forward to sharing it with you. It is really interesting and it's pertinent to administrators, teachers, parents, and students in school today. It's a big, big issue. So there's your little tease. Before we go any further, just want to check in with you. I haven't heard pickleball, not today, right? Did you pickle yesterday?
I pickle every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's medicinal for me.
Well,
It keeps the
just
moving parts moving.
I think it's important that the world know that not only are you obviously an accomplished educator and business owner, but also that one of the world's great athletes. I think that and
You must
we
live in
let
a
folks.
very small world.
But I'm proud as a son. I'm proud. I mean, my dad
Thank
said
you.
you played. You only gave up tennis a short while ago. Now it's pickleball, and you're good. I will tell you. I'm got a quick little story, and I think people, they should get to know us. My son, who is a college athlete, went out to visit Grandpa, and they played pickleball. And my son's 20 years old. He said, "Look, obviously, I'm more athletic than he is at this point in my life." He said, "But he outplayed me. He definitely outplayed me." So I thought that was high praise.
It definitely is. The highest praise was that he wanted to come and visit.
There you go. All right. Well, that's a little into our world. We'll talk about my lack of athletic ability next show, maybe. Let's before we go any further, I do want to mention our company, United Testing Service. UTS has been around for more than 50 years. Dr. Fine started it in South Florida. We're in a number of different states. Two of the bigger things that we do are staffing for mostly private and charter schools. And also we have a fantastic tutoring program that is run by my sister, Tracy Boswell. So if you ever have any need or think that we might be able to help you, obviously reach out to us. And the website is right there on your screen. So look forward to hearing from you. We'd love to be able to help. All right, let's get to it. Big topic today, kind of a controversial topic, although I think the ship has kind of sailed on this already. Cell phones in schools. And this has been an issue for teachers for quite some time. Live in the state of Texas, and this is a state that recently passed a law banning the use of cell phones in the classroom. Now, that is a very important distinction. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But there are 35 states now, Dr. Fine, in total that have some sort of ban in place. I will let you start the conversation and just give me in general your feelings on this because some parents are very happy and some are very unhappy.
Well, when in these 35 states, and we've both done some research, and the law or regulations, the rules really vary from state to state. And how limiting they are is the point of contention for a lot of parents. There are parents who really want their children to have access to their cell phones when they're in a classroom. There are a number of states that prohibit that. Some states and some districts say you cannot have a cell phone on school grounds. Others say that if you bring them into the classroom, they have to be put into a bag and they can be taken when you leave the classroom. Others say it's all right if you have it in the classroom as long as you don't use it as a distraction. So there are varying degrees of regulation, and I think that for each person, one of the reasons that this is such a difficult subject to get your hands around and to decide where you are is because of the specificity, may I say that word? I barely said it, but specificity of the regulation. On the positive side, it takes the teacher's judgment away from them. That can be on the negative side as well. That's one of the problems. When there's a rule in place, then the teacher doesn't have to decide on a case-by-case situation as to whether or not I need to take that phone away from the student, or I need to keep it away from them, or I can't allow anyone in my classroom to have one.
And
It takes
just
away one of their one of the hats that they don't have to wear because they have 6 other full-time jobs they're doing while they're in the classroom.
And it brings consistency as well, and in terms of you don't have one teacher says it's okay and they're not bothered by it, another teacher says they don't want to see it, another teacher is taking them away, and a kid can go from one class to another and have different parameters on what is allowed and what isn't allowed. This brings consistency. Whichever rule they have in place, like you said, there are different ones, but there's consistency, and it takes away from the individual teachers from making that decision.
Right, and that's a main issue as far as, what I've heard and people that I've spoken with, parents and teachers, and again, there is no disagreement at any level that I've heard that children, students on cell phones during class is a distraction. Everyone agrees it's a
Right.
distraction. It interferes with their ability to focus, to concentrate. It interferes with others' ability to focus and concentrate. So that's not really an issue. The issue is whether or not they should have access to their phones and to what extent they have that access. The other end of the spectrum is that there are parents who want their child to be available to them. They want to be able to reach their child in case of an emergency. Now, I've been dealing with schools for many, many years, and there are times when the school has one phone number that you can reach, and if you call that number, it's often busy or there may not be anyone there. And if it's an emergency, if a parent determines that they must speak to their child, they must have access to their child, it's very frustrating, very frustrating. And so to that extent, it's a safety feature. The other aspect of it is that it enables the child to communicate to the parent. If my child is ill and they ask to leave the classroom and they're denied that option, I want them to be able to call and let me know because I will make sure that they get the attention that they need, physically, medically, etc.
Right. Well, I want to give some of the facts associated with this topic just for people because you and I, again, for the most part, we agree. We could bicker a little bit on some of the finer details, but that's not necessary. I think that there are still people, though, who are blown away that there are any rules in place regarding cell phones. And I just want to share some of these. First of all, several studies have shown, and this is one of the reasons why you now have 35 states. And I think just as a side note here, 35 states have passed it. We're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube on this one. It's not
Right.
going to go. There aren't states that are going to then back down on this. I think, if anything, you're going to continue to see more and more states pass some type of regulation on students. And the reason why is once the studies came out, they saw improved academics, improved mental health, improved social skills, and an improvement in behavior in the classroom immediately. Well, immediately, right after, that the phones were removed from the classroom. The statistic that I really found fascinating was that 70% of teens who were surveyed after having phones removed in the classroom said that there was way more good than bad in putting that rule in place. So the teens themselves were aware of the fact that this was a positive thing. The addiction level of the usage is astronomical, and there are obviously a lot of studies and surveys and information out there on. Now, that's not to say that they're all bad. They're not all bad.
Well,
It's
wait, I was just going to give you the other point of view. I think that there are just as many people who will feel that the cell phone is an amazing tool for safety outside of the classroom.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that you're stuck on the side of the road. You need help. You're in a situation that you're uncomfortable. Maybe, just maybe, you've been out with your friends. You're in high school. You've had a few drinks, and you say, "Hey, I don't feel safe
Right.
getting in my car and driving, but I do have the ability to call my parent and say." Can you please come and pick me up? I really don't feel comfortable. Or
And
someone that you drove with, they've had too much to drink and you don't want to get in a car with them.
and that's the quandary, right? That's the issue is there are good and bad, and how do
Yep.
we manage it so that we have the benefits and the positive of it? And even in terms of being able to have information at the tips of your fingers if you're doing homework and you need to look something up. I mean, this is not um I talk to my kids all the time and my students. I teach as an adjunct professor a couple. It's not that long ago that I was going to an Encyclopedia Britannica to try and find information. And now, you pick this thing up and any question you have can be answered. So, yeah, I think the issue is, and this is what everybody is grappling with, is having the positives there for especially for children and how to manage it in a way that it doesn't negatively affect their lives. And there's no questioning that it has the use of cell phones has negatively affected from bullying
Absolutely.
to image, self-image and all, countless ways that there have been negatives. And you and I aren't going to solve that problem today, but it isn't interesting to get back to for schools having to make a decision about how
Yeah.
they manage this.
And let me put the power back in the hand of the parent. Because if the parents have their child at a school that has regulations that they are uncomfortable with, then they have the ability to find a school that has set it up in a way that they're comfortable and have their child in that type of environment. And they're comfortable with that. So you're not restricted to having your child in a school with regulations that you're not comfortable with. Well, I think we certainly have opened the envelope as far as this subject is concerned. And what I would love to suggest is for the millions of people that tune into our podcast each week, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what your opinion is. And with your responses, hopefully we'll be able to share some of them on a future podcast and at least give our audience some ideas of opinions that are out there that are not yours and mine.
Yeah, our emails throughout the show, I put them there at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of the screen. So feel free to email either one of us. If you have feedback, you can do that all the time. And if there are other things you'd like us to discuss, you can give us that information as well. One thing you and I did not discuss, so I'm going to kind of maybe catch you off guard here. Did you have a loose law for today that you might want to share, or can you
I
come up with
have a
one at the last moment as I,
Yeah,
you
let me
know,
give me just one moment here because I had a couple of them that I wanted to share, but I'm only going to share one. As a matter of fact, one of my grandchildren reminded me of it. I don't know if I shared this one. All the wisdom of the world is contained in 4 words. Okay. All the wisdom of the world, Lewis Law, all the wisdom of the world is contained in a 4-word sentence. This too shall pass.
I love it. And I'm going to add on to that because I think that when people hear that quote, and this was something because you shared that with me years and years ago, obviously when I was very young. And there is also, it's a big part of one of my favorite books that you gave me that I still have, The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. It was only years after I heard the quote and read that book that I realized that this too shall pass isn't just to make you feel good that bad things are going to pass. It's to keep you grounded and humble when things are good, because good times
Yeah,
pass too, and there's usually bad ahead. Life is a roller coaster, so don't get too high on your
definitely.
horse when things are going well, because this too shall pass. It goes
Yeah.
both ways.
Yes, it does. The counter argument to that Lewis law is 1 word, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, yeah. Or my
And that's a
favorite
good
of yours,
note.
one of my favorites, anytime I used to ask my dad a question, he said, "Well, you know the answer? It depends."
That's
It's
right.
there's no easy answers.
Yeah.
Well, it's always easy talking with you, that is for sure. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Certainly, it was good that you and I flushed this out because it was about a week's worth of conversations going back
Yes,
and
it
forth.
was. Yeah.
It's a heated topic, the cell phone issue, and I think it's great that you made a point to tell people to email us. We'd love to hear how you think about it.
Well, the good news for you is that I'm not going to take away your cell phone.
Sometimes I wish you would. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching Five
Thank you.
Questions with Dr. Fein. We'll see you next episode.